Hello and welcome to Her Space. I am your host, Edna Thiongombugwa. In this podcast, we delve deeper into the world of moms, motherhood, women inspiring women, he for she for he, all those things that empower women in Kenya and in Africa. I welcome you back and we are so happy to have you. Today we have a very special guest who is a very good friend of mine. She's called Carol, and I'll allow her to introduce herself. She's a mommy, a skincare enthusiast. She lives in the diaspora. I don't know whether it is living in the diaspora or she's a Kenyan who lives in the UK. And we cannot wait to hear her story and how motherhood has also impacted her journey. Karibu sana. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, thank you very much, Edna. It's a pleasure to be here. I am honored and I'm humbled because these are very rare occasions. I rarely get opportunities like this. Probably this is my first, maybe second time in my life to,
Awesome.
So yeah, as you mentioned, my name is Carol Shiko, and I'm many things. I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I am a colleague, and then one of the most important title is mom, and not just a mom, but a mom of a child with additional needs. I'm also a skincare enthusiast. I enjoy everything skincare, chatting about skincare and, stuff like that. Things that boost our, boost us women. And also a mental health advocate.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, and mental wellness is something that we are looking at so much. And I love your skin. You look nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping me a little bit. I'm a bit tacky with that.
Don't worry. You're
Yes,
doing well.
it's a journey.
Yeah, it's a journey,
Yeah.
definitely.
You have to tell me why I have to use a toner. Like, seriously, my toner lasts for 3 years because I don't know how to use
Because
it.
you don't know how to use your toner.
Yes, and serums and
Yeah,
all that.
I know,
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. So Carol has a page, and she also delivers good products from the UK to Nairobi, and has a lot of customers. And I'm sure people will follow you on your page.
Correct.
We'll put it in our site so that you can get more customers.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
So, first of all, thank you so much for contributing in my book, Tea with Mom, Stories of Moms. Carol's story is there, titled Snowflakes. And it was the only story actually that illuminated on special needs. And that is why it was very important to be in the book. And you'll tell us more about that. But let us first start with who is Carol?
Yes, Carol is this very easygoing lady. People think I'm funny. I don't really think I am, but
Until you put the British accent in it.
Yes.
And you love Kiswahili a lot.
Yes. So here and there, I might end up throwing in Swahili words,
Yes.
but you'll understand. I hope
Yes.
there'll be...
We'll put subtitles.
You'll put subtitles.
Yes.
Yes. As you mentioned, yes, I do live in England, and specifically Leicester City. Oh yeah.
Watu wa
Yes,
Leicester.
yes.
Sisi tungesema Leicester.
Leicester. It's not Leicester. It's Leicester. Yes, I don't know. Yeah, we just needed the extra letters in there for
Too many British.
for drama, but yeah.
I know.
So that's where I live with my son, and I'm a single parent, and and what I do there is I'm a mental health support worker.
Okay.
So I do work with vulnerable adults, and so it's challenging. It's a lot of things, but most of all, it is very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did you transition from finance? In Kenya, you were working for the top big 5 finance institutions.
Yes.
How did you? We knew you as an accountant.
Correct.
And how did you transition to mental wellness?
Actually, it was really funny. The job found me.
Okay.
One day I was literally walking on the, I was walking my son to school, and a gentleman approached me, and I think because this is someone who'd worked in the mental health industry, and I think he did notice that something going on with my son, and I think he probably just watched the interaction I had, and waited for me literally when I was coming back from the school, because now my son was there, I was free, and he approached me and said, talking to me and asked me about my son, and I'm like, oh yes, my son has additional needs. I don't hide it, I speak about it openly, because that's the only way for people to know about special needs.
Yes.
And you know, it's not, I know it's not a taboo topic anymore.
No.
Things have changed in the last probably 10 years. And yeah, so I openly talk about it, and I'm not ashamed, and you know, people shouldn't be ashamed, because those are our kids. And you know, and he asked me, which is a very strange question, he's like, would you be interested to work with adults with additional needs? And I was like,
especially because sometimes you don't think about that. When you have a child, you're thinking just about the child, but he's growing. And then you'll be 16 and 20.
Yes, exactly. And so that was really, because at the time I was job hunting, but I couldn't get a job that was accommodating of my hours, because I've got to work very specific hours, and it's basically during when my son is in school. So like term time, that's what we call it in the UK. Term time, meaning the time it's in school, then I can work. And it's part-time. When he's at home, I cannot work.
Oh, because you're caring for him.
Because I'm his sole carer. Yes. And
is that just for children with additional needs, or is that how it is in the UK for everyone?
It is mostly, if you've got to have a really good reason as to why you can't work full-time. And so for me, that is already a reason. So it's, if you're, so there are different reasons why you can't work full-time. If it's justifiable, then that's fine. So yeah, and I told him, look, I can only work these timings, and you know, these days of the week. Is that okay with you? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, am I literally being interviewed by someone who I barely know on the streets in the UK? And I'm like, how is this even possible? And yeah, and he told me, you know, he told me where to find him. He gave me his business card, and said he would call me, and he did call me. I thought it was, you know, just one of those things. Exactly. It just seemed too easy, you know. And then he called me for an interview, and when I went for the interview, I went all, you know, with my suit, all suited up,
like a proper accountant.
A proper accountant. And I went there, and everything was easygoing, no stress. Everything was really chilled. And from the vibe I was getting, it was just a formality. They'd already decided they wanted to pick me.
I like that.
And that's how I got the job, and I've been there for 3 years. Yes.
And your mother would have said, that's Jesus, and that's how God works,
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. Let's say amen.
Amen. They agreed to the terms.
Yes.
I mean, I didn't.
You just fit in smoothly.
Totally.
Oh,
yes. So
awesome.
and many times I was thinking, every time, because normally we have a summer break for 2 months, and I was thinking, what employer is going to keep me there when I'm away for? But they did.
Whoa.
And I've done that, and even now I've been away for 2 months, and when I go back, I have my job.
That's awesome.
So
that's
good.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
And that's how God works anyway.
Absolutely.
Miracles.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your mom a bit, and how, and I'm sorry your mom is late, and may she continue resting in peace. Tell us a little bit about her and how she impacted your own journey.
Yeah, so my mom rested 5 years ago. May she rest in peace. That's one of the reasons also I'm in Kenya. We came to have a memorial. We've never had one, but we just recently had one. And that was really beautiful, because it was basically just remembering mom and all the positive things that she, you know, brought into our lives. And my mom, being a single mom, she was mom and dad, so you know that already shows that she was
everything.
She was everything to us. Yeah, she really was everything. And also she was an awesome lady, God-fearing, obsessed with work. She was one person who was totally obsessed with work. I remember there was a time she had major surgery. She had hip replacement, and that should, you know, with that you're normally out of work for a couple of weeks. She literally was out of hospital, and in 2 days she was already going back to work. It was until the people where she worked literally got a taxi and sent her back home. They're like, you know what, just go rest, because that's the kind of person she was. Just was obsessed with working. And she was also, she really, she was a disciplinarian.
All moms are.
Yes, she was that ninja. She
Yes,
was a
yeah.
typical ninja. Yeah, no nonsense. And for her, education was very important. You had to excel. There was no two ways about it.
Yeah.
And that's how we've ended up with 2 professors in my family.
Well done.
Yes, thank you. And a maths teacher, mwalimu wa maths.
Mwalimu wa maths.
Exactly.
I'm sure akona nickname.
Oh, he definitely has. I know he has nicknames.
school,
Yeah.
yes.
The teacher most of us never liked.
I tell
but
you.
yeah, so that's basically mom. She was very supportive of me.
A nurse by profession.
Yes, nurse by profession, and she studied abroad, and so she lived abroad for a couple of years, so she understands how things work, both here and and yeah, very passionate worker, and even as a family woman, we were very close. I mean,
Yeah.
very close. Loved her kids to death. Could die for her kids and her grandkids. Yeah, they were her life. And generally, just a really good person, good friend,
Yeah.
good colleague.
Yeah.
Yes.
We remember her with good thoughts.
Yes,
May she
absolutely.
continue resting well.
Yes.
And I'm happy that at least you are able to say your goodbyes properly this time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I was.
So what is the only one thing that you've picked now that is impacting how you're raising Lloyd?
I find myself to be like a really typical African mom. And, I know he's got additional needs. I know he's got a lot of challenges, which I know I will talk about
Yes.
at some point down the interview. But also at the same time, I normally say, I know in there, apart from the special needs, there's some naughtiness also.
Yes.
So I normally try and straighten out the naughtiness, and then the autism remains. But I normally say bad behavior drops out.
Yes.
I make sure bad behavior drops
Drops
out.
out.
Yeah, so just how family is everything to me. My son is everything. He's my one and done. So yeah, so
You've said done.
yeah, yes, one and done.
Okay.
No more.
Let nobody out there imagine.
No, don't. No. Yeah, so
Okay. And tell us about your own motherhood journey, how it has been, and then you'll tell us about Lloyd.
yes, my motherhood journey. I'm a late bloomer in many things. Some I cannot mention
I
here.
thought you actually got your baby early
No, I got my
because
son
you were
at-
way younger than Emma. When I was thinking
Oh,
about you and Emma.
No, it's just the skincare. Just makes me look young. But
I see that.
yeah, it's just,
Invest in skincare.
invest in skincare.
Yep.
Yeah, sunscreen, please.
Tulale nayo. Ama.
No, mukiamka. That's the first thing.
Okay.
The sun will age you. It will age you.
And
Yes.
in Africa it's very sufficient.
It is. Yes, I know. Plenty. So I got my son late. What would say a little bit later in life. I got my son when I was 35, and he was not an oops baby. He was prepared for in all ways, and so I had put everything right. I had my, those, you're ready.
Yes.
Your finances are in order.
You guys were too ready. You
Professionally,
over-shopping,
you shopped.
reading all the materials.
Reading everything. You are on all the websites
Yeah.
and all the supplements, everything. Just the I'm extra. I'm a little bit extra sometimes.
You're always extra.
I'm always extra. So I went extra. And yeah, so when my son was conceived, it was pure joy. Yeah, and immediately I remember when I went to see my gyna, and I know he was like, asking me questions, and it's like, so you're trying to, from what you're saying, you could be like 2 weeks pregnant and you're already here for the clinic. Yeah, I'm ready. I want to start my clinics. He's like, people wait a little bit, I'm like, no, I'm not waiting.
Let's start the scans.
Let's start it now. Let's start everything. I want everything to go perfectly, that kind of thing.
Yes.
And they're like, well, you are one excited parent. And I'm like, yeah, I am.
Yes.
And so we started off the whole journey, clinics, and it was one of the best, actually. I made sure I was being seen by one of the best. And that's how it all began, and had a healthy pregnancy, just the normal, cravings where you want specific things that are not found, like things found in other countries. That's what you crave.
Yes.
Those kind of
In Mombasa,
crazy.
what
Yeah,
are you
I know.
craving?
I'm in Mombasa, but I'm craving like things for that found in Sarit Center.
Oh Lord.
So those
Did I
kind.
crave?
Yeah, I
Had
know.
cravings for pizza.
Yes.
You know, now today you look back and say, what's the pizza had things inside it? Okay.
I know, crazy. Yeah, and yeah, so healthy pregnancy, had no complications, and yeah, that's basically how that went. Gave birth. Yeah, it was a traumatic kind of birth experience. I mean, because I think I'm quite petite.
Yes.
So I think I had a really big baby.
Yeah.
So that was, but anyway, it happened, but he wasn't in distress.
Yeah.
It was fine. And yeah, and motherhood started, and yeah, and everything was, set and prepared and started the whole journey. And
Yeah.
then I started noticing things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At
things that
what
were
point
different.
did you start noticing?
I remember, your sister and I are very close.
Yes.
And we were one of the things that really brought us
You were pregnant
close.
together.
We were pregnant together.
Yes.
Our babies were like 3 weeks apart.
Yes.
So even as much as you're not
I
supposed to
remember my mom really praying for your birth because
Yes.
now Emma had already gone through, and now my
Yes.
mom is like, "Caro, now maombi yote
Yes,
is on
being so
ya."
small, we don't know how it's gonna end up.
Yes, and she was worried about your normal
Yes,
delivery journey.
delivery, yeah. And one of the reasons is because we have our kids very close, literally 3 weeks apart.
Yes.
So that means that there was a lot of comparisons. Always, we're always on the phone.
What is this
what
doing?
is your son? What is has a daughter? What's your
Yes.
daughter doing?
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is what my son's doing. Oh my God, he smiled for the first time. Oh, mine smiled too. That's how we used to be,
Yes.
And so there were things she was saying, and I was not relating to those kind of things.
Oh,
and
you're
I'm
like,
thinking,
mine hasn't done that yet.
I'm like, what's going on? Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's fine. And he's a boy, and people say boys are,
Start later.
start things later. So I was like, that's fine. But yeah, and that's how it was. But let's just say, even as much as yes, boys start things later, there's a point you get to and you're like, this is taking a bit too long. He's 2 years old. He's not saying anything. He's not giving me eye contact. What's the deal? And
at that early age, you don't get to know about eye contact because you don't
don't.
even know there's something like eye contact.
Yes, you just think, actually, yeah, that's true. And now I'm talking about eye contact
Because you know.
now I know, yes. But at the time,
You're just like,
it was just, just a baby being a baby.
yes.
Yeah.
And of course, your son being 0.5, what are they called in
Mixed
English?
race.
Mixed race.
Mixed race.
We thought it's a mzungu thing.
Exactly. We just thought,
Maybe that's how they are.
That's just how they are,
Of course, we find them like
old. Yes. So that's what I also thought. And so I just let it slide for a while, and talking to your sister, Emma, and it's like her child was just born and hit the ground running. Like everything that was supposed to happen was happening. And for me, it wasn't happening. And I'm like, what's the deal? Yeah. So, I mean, there was a time, so I decided, okay, you know what? It's 2.5 years. He's not said a single word, even as much as, you know how you're always told, when you're getting worried and you're talking to people, my son's not talking. What's going? Like, no, everybody knows someone who knows someone who knows someone else who's got a cousin whose
never
child started until they were 5. So you're just 2.5. So don't worry, it's going to happen.
Little.
Yeah, I'm thinking 5 years old. Okay, I can't wait. I can wait for 5.5 years. I can wait until 5. I'm fine with that.
Yes, and it looks a bit like we have 2 years to go.
Yes, exactly. But I decided, let me just take the boy to the pediatrician just to see what they say, and they listen. But of course, at the time we're already Googling it, trying to see, okay, what's going on, and this, and then all these words are popping up.
Yeah.
Words you've never had, you may have had. You don't even know how to pronounce some of the words, like autism.
Yeah.
I was like,
autism. What is that word?
What does that mean?
Exactly.
And then you're reading and you're like, looks like something he's got. But well, let me just take him to the pediatrician and have them, assess him. And that's that's where we began. And we got a referral, and eventually I got the diagnosis. Yeah.
And then what happened?
That time he was, I let it, first of all, I said, okay, you know what, I'll wait. So I waited, I think, for a year. And then I decided, you know what, I need to have him assessed. So he was,
Again?
to be, because at the time, when 2.5 is when I noticed the issues, then I started thinking, should I not? Then I got a referral, but the referral, I was living in Mombasa, it was in Nairobi, so I couldn't, timings wasn't right. Timing wasn't right. But after 1 year, I was able to go to Nairobi for the assessment. So it was probably 3.
He was 3?
Yeah, he was 3. Yeah, that's when I went for the assessment. Got the diagnosis.
Yeah.
Yes.
That must have been a dark day.
Oh, I cannot even. It was horrible.
I know.
It was
so
horrible.
sorry.
Yeah, it was horrible in so many ways because look, you are. We all have dreams for our kids.
Yes.
When you get your baby, you're thinking of they're gonna be, the best of the best.
Messi.
Yes.
Footballers, golfers,
Exactly.
musicians.
The whole 9 years, And for me, I had planned, like, you see, this is what he's going to do.
Yes.
I want to take him to England. I want him to join football academy. He's going to make a lot of money and buy me a big house. I had all those dreams,
Typical Kenyan mother.
Typical Kenyan mother.
Read had, buy me a car. Oh, Lord.
I had seen
too much expectations.
I had seen it all. I had seen it all.
Yeah.
And then for you to go get the diagnosis of autism, and then of course they start explaining things to you.
Yeah.
But at the time, you're so confused and you're so all the things they're telling, all you're hearing is doom and gloom.
Yeah.
Because you're hearing things like, from thinking about your child being this top achiever to you being told that your child may never be able to even tie their own laces.
Yeah.
It's devastating.
Lots.
It breaks your soul that they might never even be able to button up their shirts. Like basic things.
Yes.
So that was very, very, very devastating. And of course you're in denial. You're thinking, nah, I don't think she got it right. That cannot happen to my son. I took all the supplements. I took brain supplements. I took all these supplements.
I know.
Why is this happening?
Yeah.
Because autism is a neurological, it's a brain thing. It's a neurological condition.
Yes.
I'm like, what did I do?
Like
what
the
did I
brain
not
is not
do?
developing.
Yes, So yeah, that's how it started. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I know all that.
Fast hand.
Oh, I've walked that.
Been there, done that. She's got the T-shirt. She's got the mug.
Oh, and the trophy. Yeah, it's devastating.
Yeah.
I remember I could not leave the parking. And the doctor, okay, no, let me not talk about that doctor. I think maybe she's dealt with so many people in the space until she's dry. Like she doesn't want...
She's devoid of emotions.
Yeah. So, you'd expect to deliver such a diagnosis to a mother, hug them and tell them it's going to be okay. Oh, she's just sitting on that chair telling you all the gloom and doom. But anyway, it was real. It's tough. I don't know. So what did you do after that? How did you move forward?
From that, okay. So what happened is now after that, now of
Were
course...
you alone? Because
I was alone.
Wow,
I was alone.
That
so
was tough.
yes. So now you start going on overdrive.
You hadn't even thought of going with your mom?
No, I had not thought of going with anyone,
Yeah.
I went on overdrive, Googling like a mad woman.
Yes,
I was
everyone
not
does
sleeping.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was. What is this autism?
Mm.
Even the pronunciation, I couldn't even pronounce the word properly.
It actually takes long before you can even agree to mention the word.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think for me, like wholly, I just wanted to say we're in the spectrum. I didn't want to like say autism.
Yeah.
It's a difficult word.
It's a difficult one. And so what I decided to do is, let me just start reading. And then, of course, the more you read, the more devastated you get because you're thinking, basically, what I'm reading means it's a lifetime of care. I didn't sign up for this.
Oh, we struggled with the lifetime because you wanted us to title your story A Lifetime of Care.
Yes.
And then within your story, you said how these children with autism are like snowflakes.
Oh, did
Like
I?
none is like another.
Yes.
So me being the author, I love the
Yes.
snowflakes.
Snowflake. That was
Which is,
really, that was
yeah,
clever. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
because they're
clever.
actually very different.
Yes.
I mean, look at your son and mine, they're so different.
Yes.
And they're in the same space. So you'll find some commonalities, but the spectrum kind of, I think that's why they call it the spectrum.
A spectrum.
Because a child is in the whole line.
Yes, yes.
It could be
They could be anywhere on the
anywhere
spectrum.
on the spectrum. Yeah.
Correct, correct.
Yeah. So tell us how you moved forward.
So once, and at some point you've got to accept, because once you do, once you accept, is when now you start now looking for intervention. So that's now, because I was like, you know what, the child is growing. I can't sit here in denial forever.
Yes.
I can't lock up, I can't lock myself, in my room and cry forever. I would want to do that, but I can't.
Yes.
And so that's where I started, what can I do to help my son? And that's when I started the therapies, and they're not cheap therapies.
They're crazy expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
And I started, and then now the decision to move abroad started being more appealing to me.
Yes.
Because I felt, even looking for a school that would be accommodating was difficult, and then very expensive.
Yeah.
And everything was just astronomically expensive.
Yeah. The supplements are so expensive.
Everything.
What's wrong with even therapies being so expensive?
That's the thing.
5,000 for a session for 1 hour.
Yeah. And you're like, how can you, it's unaffordable.
I know.
But you want the best for your child, so you sacrifice, and you get them done, because you're hoping that you want to give them a fighting chance.
Yes.
So you throw everything, literally. And I keep saying, parents of kids with additional needs, we literally throw everything at our kids, hoping something will stick.
By the way, we should not pay tax. Don't you think? I think so. We should be tax exempted.
Yes. And some of these things are happening in developed countries, because they know how expensive.
I'm serious about this.
Yes.
Zakaya season of taxation.
Yes.
We need to seriously be considered.
And also, the way, and now, because my son was born in Kenya, we lived here for 5 years, and now we've moved to the UK. That the difference is night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah, between both,
countries.
Both countries.
Yeah.
It's night
in terms
and
of
day.
support.
In terms of
what are
everything.
the obvious better things that you have found there that we don't have?
Absolutely everything. We're talking about, first of all, they do acknowledge that raising a child with additional needs is financially draining. You do get financial assistance for that child.
I want to come there.
Oh, yes.
No one has ever given me a bob.
You should.
For all this
That's
work
the
I'm
thing.
doing
That's
for the
the thing.
country and the world.
They do that.
Oh.
And they know it's expensive, because everything, look, we're talking about swimming the other day. And one thing about, like, one thing I really like is that you've enrolled your little one for swimming.
Yes.
Because one thing about, I don't know if you're aware that one of the leading causes of death of kids with additional needs is death by drowning.
Yeah.
And so, because they are water obsessed, and I normally tell parents with additional, if you can invest in your kids learning how to swim, please do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a life skill.
Yeah.
It's not just about playing in water. It is a life skill. It would save your child's life.
Sure.
And so, first of all, remember, our kids don't really do well in crowds.
Yes.
And so they need one-to-one lessons. One-to-one lessons don't come cheap.
Yes.
Some of our kids are very choosy, picky diets.
Yes.
Picking what they eat. And that is not cheap.
Yes.
And
Very expensive.
Very expensive.
Gluten-free.
Exactly.
Casein-free.
I don't know what free. It's ridiculous.
I tell you.
Very picky in what they drink. He cannot drink this juice, but he has to drink this brand and that brand. And somehow they just have they have a taste for the expensive things. Why?
Because they're so unique.
Yes, yeah. So that's one of the differences. And the schools is another thing where the special schools, it is a process getting into a special school in the UK. It's not, you just don't you know, walking on Friday and then show up on Monday in your uniform. It is a process. There's a lot of assessment by professionals that is done for them to agree that your child cannot be supported in mainstream. I'm not going to say normal school.
No.
Yeah, we are
talk
very,
about typical
yes,
neurodivergent.
Yes, we are
it's
very...
It's a whole lesson we're going to teach Kenyans.
It is a whole lesson.
I can't believe people say a normal child.
Yes.
Are they saying I was abnormal?
Abnormal. I will talk about that very shortly.
Yeah.
I'm hoping somebody's... Yes. Actually, I can throw a tantrum. Breathe in, breathe out.
Yes.
Yes. So, so basically, even now that we've mentioned that, I will build that on that a bit. There's a lot of acceptance of children.
People with additional needs.
People are very, whatever terms they use are very, they're very politically correct terms.
Yeah, accommodating, loving, inclusive.
Yes. One thing I came to realize about my people is, and I will say it in Swahili because it's something people normally say a lot, when they see children or adults behaving different, you know, because our kids behave different. Yes. Our kids stand out.
Yes.
Because they're always doing something that's not...
When my son came here to the studio, he removed his susu and akasusu hapa. Hello, in front of everyone, cameras, mumeona. You get like, and because he was like, hi, mommy, I'm here. I can't see where the toilet is. You know, at home he's very well toilet trained.
Yes.
But alitufanyia hiyo kitu. Yeah.
And we have a lot of stories like that.
Yeah.
We've had it all. Yeah. My son has done that even in a
and
the
mall. Other day I was at my club. I wanted to play and I thought, because it's a Sunday, I would walk with him.
Yeah.
So I tell my sisters, let's just all go walk. Yes. I'll just do a 9 and we can walk with him. And we said, okay, let's carry his tablet so that at least he's watching his cartoon and not distracted. Immediately we just... At the entrance, he removed the shout of a lifetime. We were kicked out.
Like, no, it's like, I'm here, people, I'm here.
I know.
Letting everyone know. And that's what happens.
Yeah, so yeah, as you're saying, they stand out.
They do stand out. And so one of the things that I would like to talk about is basically just people being sensitive to parents, you know, carers of kids with additional needs.
Yes.
Especially, I know there's a term we use and it's... very innocently.
Yes.
I'm sure I've used it myself, but some of these things have stood out more having lived abroad.
Yes.
And one of them is, I'll just say it in Swahili.
Yes.
Asking a parent, nini mbaya na huyu? Nini mbaya na mtoto wako? Why is it something mbaya? Why is it it's so rude?
Insensitive word.
Very insensitive. Yeah. Please don't ask that. Nini mbaya na ye? There's nothing mbaya na ye.
Yeah.
There's nothing, you know. And yesterday I'd gone to visit a friend of mine and Betty, shout out, and your lovely kids, Dasha, Misha, you guys were awesome conversations yesterday. And we're having this conversation about how do you, if you, let's say you notice that, you know, there's a child with, you know, additional, you know, acting different and stuff, and, you know, how do you, and you're interested in knowing what's going on, there's a nice way of asking. Don't even ask what's wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just different, you know. Yes. So there's a way we were looking for correct term, whether you say it in Swahili or in English, what is acceptable, what is, you know, as opposed to just going for the jugular. Nini mbaya na ye. Exactly. Kichwa yake ni mzuri kweli.
I know.
You know,
another person told me the people, her family are telling her, your child is not 100%. At Yakoles. People really...
What does that mean? Please tell us. What does that mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
really...
my child is 100%.
They are.
Mapua, kichwa, and all that.
No, and I mean, even the people with no hands, they are whole.
They are whole.
They are complete.
Yeah, I agree. Scratch that.
We are all complete because our Lord is complete.
Absolutely.
And so he made us complete.
Absolutely.
And for me, I find like we have been given this work to show the world difference. Absolutely. Yeah, because somebody has to do it.
Yes.
Yeah. How did the whole journey, as we come to wrapping up, how did it affect you personally?
Yes. So I had a really good job. I'd just gotten a promotion
in Nairobi.
Yes, at the head office, and I had to quit and say, you know what? Because one thing about children with additional needs, you need to start the interventions as early as possible.
Yes.
the longer you wait, the more difficult it becomes. And so I decided, you know what, I've waited long enough. I need to start. I need to quit and move and start, you know, this whole intervention. That's what I did. And you know, one thing about, I know I mentioned earlier on about mental health awareness, and you know, I'm an advocate for that. And it's because parents with kids with additional needs a lot of the times suffer from mental health issues at one point or the other. And it's not the, and I know mental health is, I know now people are talking about it in this country.
But there's a stigma.
Is still a stigma.
There's still a stigma.
Yeah, there's still that. But in other countries abroad, it's fully accepted, and it's not something people talk, you know, hush tones. No, people talk about it openly. And one of the things is, personally, everything affected me, moving from my, you know, the life I was used to a life I wasn't used to, and, you know, trying to learn everything, you know, the accent, it was difficult.
Are you hearing the in it,
you know, and the bottle of water, it was hard. I was like, what do you mean?
Yes, I know.
Yes, it was very difficult to, you know, fully adjust to the culture, the language, everything was very difficult. And having a child with additional needs, where do you even start? Because I had no one to, so I'd literally having to start, you know, learning from the very basics.
Yes.
And surprisingly now, I'm actually, I help people who have kids born in the UK, who've lived there more years than myself. And they're like, you're so switched on. How'd you do this? Because I learned the hard way.
Yes.
I was literally thrown in the deep end with the sharks.
Yes.
So I had to learn how to swim with them.
To swim out.
Yeah, and that's just how it had to be. And I know a lot of grace has followed me also, because that has made things so much easier for me. Even as much as I push things, you know, you might push and, you know, it doesn't really work out. But for me, I have been really glad that things have been, you know, working out for me. But my mental health has definitely been affected by all that. And I remember there was a time, I'm a very easygoing person, and, you know, always joking. But I did suffer from depression. I was diagnosed with depression, and I had to be on medication. And being the African,
I'm sorry.
I'm like, I'm a tough woman. How can I start? What do you mean I'm depressed? I'm not depressed. Because I did have physical symptoms. It was not just, oh, I'm sad, I'm depressed. You know, we use that very loosely. Oh, I'm depressed. Oh, I'm
so stressed.
I'm so
it's not about stress.
Yeah, it actually comes with physical symptoms. I wasn't sleeping. I had non-stop migraines. I had, you know, horrible stomach issues, and just a lot of things. So initially I even thought I had high blood pressure. And so I went to the doctor, typical Kenyan way, even telling them, I think I've got high blood pressure. It's not been checked. You know, the way you go, I think I've got
self-diagnosing.
Self-diagnosis. Niko na malaria.
I think so.
Malaria
this is it. In a fit.
So I'm talking and I'm saying, I have high blood pressure. Nobody has tested or anything. But for me, I
know
Googled
the symptoms. I Googled.
This is and Googled, and then it was during actually lockdown, so we were not even
COVID time,
it was COVID time, and there was lockdown, so we were not being seen. You had to, it was phone consultations. But funny thing is, when I was explaining to the doctor about my symptoms, suddenly I had almost like a mental breakdown.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
From nowhere, I had a major mental breakdown. And they listened, they had time for me, they listened to me, and they told me, and I think from what they gauged, they said if they throw the D word, depression, I was going to flip out. I was going to freak out.
Make it worse for you.
Yeah, I was going to make it worse. So they just told me, I think I'll prescribe medication that's a mood booster.
Okay.
Like, mood booster, what do you mean? So I was like, what medication is that?
Pick you up.
Yeah. So I was like, mood booster, what does that mean? I thought I had high blood pressure. You sure? You don't need to check my... He said, like, no, your blood pressure is actually fine.
Okay.
And so when they asked, so I was like, what's the name of the medication? And they said, and they told me what it was. I Googled it, and immediately...
You love Google,
exactly.
Carol.
And you know what pops up? Antidepressants. I told the doctor, I'm not depressed. No, I'm fine. This is high blood pressure. I'm not depressed. And they were like, I'm like, no, I can't. I'm not even, they hadn't even prescribed the medication. I'm already asking, how long will I be on this medication for?
You talk.
Exactly, yeah. And so eventually I was able to, I softened up to the idea of, getting the antidepressants. And I started taking them, and shock horror. I started feeling better.
Okay.
So yes, so
It works.
Yeah, it did work. Yeah, so mental health is not something
Did
to
you
be
like
ashamed
seek
about.
like therapy, like like talking to somebody?
At the time, I did not. I
Okay.
didn't think I needed to, because those are not things, we're black people, we're Africans, we're
Yeah.
strong. We don't do the things we don't do like that.
know.
And so eventually, actually very recently, I'm talking about this year,
Yes.
is when I have really, a friend of mine was talking to me about talking therapy, and I thought, that's not for me, I don't need that.
Yes.
But eventually at some point this year, I decided, let me try it out. And it's something I think everyone needs, yes, we always talk about to our friends, our family about your problems, but there's that aspect from a professional, someone who's, who's done it, who does it for a living.
Yes.
And there's just something therapeutic about talking
Yes.
to,
Yeah. And they have the professional tools
to guide
help
you and to help you, as opposed to family and friends. Those ones will be emotional.
listening.
That's emotional. They're emotionally attached.
Yes.
So they may not really give you. They will give you advice, but sometimes. And so I decided, let me give it a shot. And honestly, I think I'm an addict now.
It's good.
Talking therapy.
Yeah,
if you can have talking therapy with a professional
Yes.
therapist,
Yes.
go for it.
It's important.
Yes.
In fact, I believe in our space for mothers who are looking after children with additional needs.
Correct.
One of the requirements is actually therapy.
Absolutely.
Because you may not, maybe many people may not sink into full-blown depression.
Correct.
But you're you're like continuously overburdened.
Correct.
You're overwhelmed.
Correct.
So you're overwhelmed with balancing your work, this child, worrying about your child. And I found myself also having those sleepless nights. And I can't say, maybe at one point I was depressed and I didn't know. But for me, I'm a believer of therapy.
Correct.
So even as I was taking my child to therapy, I always have a therapist on demand. I'll pay, and I'll call her and I'll talk to her, and it helps a lot.
It does.
You vent.
Yes.
You kind of, even sometimes we just do the 2 hours just listening to me.
Yes.
And then she'll offer me support.
Yeah.
Give me a few tools, and I think it is something that we should recommend.
It should.
Yeah.
It should.
Yeah.
Things like that should be subsidized by the government, so that so that they're affordable. Because I know a therapy session is like maybe 3,000 Kenya shillings, 3,500.
3 to 5K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not cheap, and
Yeah.
for us people, especially us with kids with additional needs, it is almost like a basic need for us. Yeah.
So in the UK, your child is going to school for free?
My child is going to school for free. They are picked up by taxi, and the taxi has a driver and and an assistant to just be with him, make sure he's okay, and all that's paid for by the government, to taken to school, brought back home 5 days a week.
Wow.
He's got therapies going on. He's in the special schools, they have fully invested in them. The teacher-pupil ratio is really good. Like a class would have 8 to 12 kids and up till 5 teachers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's staying in school up to 3 or 5 p.m.?
He stays up till, the hours are 9 to 3.
9 to 3?
Yes.
And then you're able to work when he's away?
When he's, yes.
Yeah. And then they also subsidize your other, you said they pay you, or they subsidize your other needs?
My other needs are subsidized because I wouldn't be able to afford house rent.
And working full time.
And working, yeah, because I can't work full time. So those are the kind of things that they do to make sure we don't end up living under a bridge.
I love
because
that.
Yes,
I love that. I hope our president is listening.
I really, things like that need to be put in
because
place.
To be honest, our kids, you can't even leave them. In fact, we are lucky that in Kenya we also have help.
Helps.
I think that's what helps us. But you can imagine every other, I know so many parents who have had to quit work.
I know.
Yeah, so many.
Yeah.
And they're not able to work.
Yeah.
And if you have to work, you have to have like a lot of additional help.
Correct.
So you'll have therapists, you'll have nannies, you have more. You can't have just one because it's a lot of work. So I think it is important for our country and Africa to listen, because at the end of the day, all these children are our citizens.
Yes.
And they deserve that support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because one of the thing the UK has put in, you see the reason they've put
Okay.
in place that we work part-time because so we can be carers, if that can also be implemented here. Because sometimes, you know, we have a lot of problems with even caregivers. You know, some come and they don't know autism.
Yes.
We should also have, you see, like if you bring a caregiver to your house with and you've got a child with additional needs, they've never experienced that before.
Yes.
If there could be some, let's say when the child is in school,
Yes.
where they do some course, you enroll them for some course for them to fully understand.
Yeah, to be able to take care of this child
Yes,
better.
and to know, because a lot of people, there are people who still think it's contagious. It's not contagious. It's
No,
not.
it's
Yeah,
not, yeah.
it's not a disease
Not
to
a
be
flu.
cured. No. So if we could also have something in place like that,
Yes.
where they're educated and
Trained.
yeah, because uko mashinani, people don't know, don't really understand autism and
Yes,
stuff like
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
and so I'm a big advocate for that. Somehow we should think of seeing how we can start that for people to understand that it does not mean, and it's not a curse.
Yes.
Because sometimes
I
you
like
get
that.
you get a care, a help.
Yes.
And they think, oh my God, this family, there's a curse. This child was sacrificed.
Yes.
The things you're told.
But it's a serious matter, by the way.
Yes.
And we have to continue advocating and letting people know.
Yes.
It's a condition that has no cause and has no cure. And that's why we go to therapists to enhance the lifestyle of a child.
Absolutely.
And I remember even us in our search for second opinion, we traveled abroad, and there are places we were told, guys, Africans, come sit here. This is not witchcraft. This one is caused by no one. There's no uncle out there who has bewitched you, so that people can stop those kind of fears.
Correct.
Yeah, of like, who did this to me? Nobody did it to you.
Yeah.
And there's nothing about you that was wrong.
Yes.
There's nothing you did or didn't do.
Yes.
And I think we have to continue enlightening ourselves and our communities.
Yes.
Yeah, that it's just like how someone was born without a hand, or another person was born blind, and another person has a different condition.
Yes.
Yeah, so that we are all peaceful.
Yeah.
And once we get that out of the way, then we can be able to advocate.
Correct.
Because I think we waste a lot of time with the what cost instead of taking action.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much, Carol. I think we need
Awesome.
another 2 hours.
I know.
Especially to tell parents what to look out for.
Yes.
But what would you tell a mother who has just gotten this diagnosis out there?
Okay, so before I get to that,
Yes.
I know with the time, time
Yes,
is
yes,
running. Yeah,
yes.
it just felt like.
Can you
we
imagine?
blinked.
You were wondering what to do with 30 minutes.
Exactly.
This
We
is how it
literally
goes.
blinked, and
I think
30
we are
minutes
45
is
now.
over. Yeah. So basically, I know one of the about mental health is, I know about apart from the talking therapy.
Yes.
I would advocate for exercise.
Okay.
It helps you so
it does?
much. Yes.
Niache kuhema kwa
Wacha
stairs.
kuhema kwa stairs the way nilisikia.
Ulinisikia
You know,
nikienda.
you were breathing like a duck yesterday, climbing upstairs. It's honestly, exercise
will
is
work out.
really so good, and you don't need to enroll in anyone's gym. You know, you're thinking, because you're
Yeah.
already overburdened financially,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're thinking, oh my God, a
Now,
gym,
gym,
that's
please,
more.
I can't afford.
You just need go look for the schools near you, kwa
Yeah.
kiwanja yao, the field.
Tembea.
Run if you can. Start jogging. I want to start training.
Yes.
Yeah, because one of the things I've heard from a few people who talk to therapists is running is one of the best, very therapeutic.
Okay. Can people like me start walking at least?
You can start,
Okay,
start by
please.
walking.
Allow us to walk a bit.
Let me tell you, eventually you will be training for a marathon.
Me, with my large boobs.
With your everything will go. You start off whatever. Your mental health will improve.
Okay.
I've had multiple people. I have my baby sister ran a marathon the other day. Tracy, that awesome.
Oh, well done.
She ran a marathon the other day. She's just started off like a joke running for her
Okay.
mental health. And I was talking to her the other day, and she's told me she's had, it has been a lifesaver.
It helps.
Multiple people. If you can do it, you don't need to go to the gym.
Okay.
Just start doing it. It's also your time.
Walking, fast walking. And then you can run.
Yeah,
a bit.
and it keeps your mind off the whole your
Helps.
problems and what have you. But for any parent out there, and I would say parents.
Yes.
But a lot of times you've come to realize that and this is not just a Kenyan or an African problem. It's also a problem out there.
Yes.
fathers don't stick around when these are diagnoses. Not all, some fathers do not stick around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of single mothers who left the additional because the father is like, this is not, there's nobody in my family who's like this. This is not my problem. This is your problem.
Can you believe people say that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Jesus.
And it's not just a problem in this country. It's a problem even out there. And so, yes, so parents, moms, you're doing a good job. That's the first thing. You're doing an awesome job. Nobody, you would, it's, and I know sometimes you think, oh, what did I do wrong? Why did I do something wrong? No, you did not do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've done that. I always say, I never drank alcohol. I never smoked.
know.
You know, I know people who've drunk alcohol, they smoke.
And
their babies are perfect.
healthy.
I did none of that. Everything I was doing was right. You know what? You're doing everything right. Pat yourself on the back. And I keep saying, don't even live a day at a time. I said, live an hour at a time. Live every minute at a time. Yeah. It gets,
I like that.
Yeah, it will, you do what you need to do and, you know, leave the rest to God. Do the best. And you're not alone.
Yes.
Find a support group. Helps massively. Look for your tribe.
Yeah.
You know, people going through the same thing and you'll never feel alone. Yeah. You will never feel alone. On there you can vent and say anything you want and nobody will ever judge. Yeah. If you have a child who's, let's say, you know, some of these things are very extreme. Like you have kids who actually eat poop. Yeah. For some strange reason, they love the texture, the taste, the smell. It's just something in poop. And I know it's embarrassing. They want to smear it on themselves. They want to smear it on the walls. And for them, it's normal. And I know that's something you don't want anyone to know you do. But, you know, talk to your people. Talk to people with, and there's nothing you'll ever say to me that will shock me. Yeah. And people
You've
will
had it, you've seen it.
I've had it all, seen it all, everything. And yeah, so
it gets better.
It gets better.
It does.
Yes.
It gets better.
It does.
And I think we have seen transformational stories. Correct. I remember somebody I met in Dubai has their child. They came to Kenya, to Masai Mara, and their child started just drawing the rhino. You know, the rhino can hold on for some time, and the boy was just drawing it and drawing it and drawing it. And it became one of the best pictures of a rhino that anybody had seen. What? And now they have a whole, you know, like they've discovered that is his talent. That's his talent. And he's in the spectrum. Wow. Non-verbal, just does that work. And now he's a renowned artist. So they do have hidden talents. Yeah, they do have hidden talents. Yeah. And it's not about whether they have a talent or not. No. It's that they're human and they're here for a purpose. And our work as their mothers is to advance this purpose and to help them live the best life that they could. And the Lord will do his work. Absolutely. The Lord will do his work. Thank you so much, Carol. Awesome. I can't thank you enough. Yes. Thank you for telling this story with so much grace, so much you know, love and humility. And I believe that now your son is turning 12.
He's turning 12. Yes. So we're going through, we have the hormones coming in. So it's autism and
puberty,
teen hormones.
And teen hormones.
It's not easy, but
so we're about to get a girlfriend, or what's going on?
At the rate, and then what I've been.
I love it. You know, we were laughing about that with my friend on set another day, because we're like, you know, sometimes people look at our kids, they're so handsome, and they're like, at least he's handsome. And sometimes it's offensive, but it's also what people see. I know. People just want to encourage us. Yeah. So I must say, Lloyd is handsome. Thank you. True. Thank you. And
thanks to mommy.
And he, and I know we're gonna get a girlfriend, and we shall do all the things that a teenager wants to do.
Yes. That's a whole story for another day of teenage and autism.
Yes, I have no idea how that should be done. Yes. So I think we do need to look to you will be guiding us as we advance with age. In fact, I was telling my friends now here, this is a friend of mine who has a 12-year-old, so you all should come to my house, so that we see how a 12-year-old where we are going. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us. This was Carol Shiko, all the way from Leicester, not Leicester. Happily Kenyan. She speaks a lot of Kiswahili from Mombasa. A mom, an autism advocate, and thank you. Skincare
Enthusiast.
enthusiast. Thank you so much for joining
Awesome.
us. You are amazing. And I believe that even if it is online, we shall continue advocating and talking more about this. I cannot wait until mothers here, by the time your child is 1.5, you can be able to start telling. Because we are saying early diagnosis, early advocacy, early interventions.
Yes.
It's better for everyone,
Exactly.
for the parents and also for the children.
The child.
So thank you so much.
Awesome,
Have a
thank
wonderful
you.
time when you go back.
Yes.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank
Thank you so much,
you.
our audience. Goodbye.